Who is the question? Funny answer? Huntress's crazy boyfriend who looks through garbage to confirm his conspiracy theories. Yeah, he actually does do that. But that's just Justice League Unlimited's version of the question. Victor Sage is the question. There was a time when he trained a successor and she took over the mantle for the most part, but Victor got it back primarily because he is primarily the question. Now, why I want to talk about the question? I always thought the question was such a cool ass character, mainly because he had this mask that showed him faceless. He can mold it, and he has equipment to change his appearance, like even more, to make for great disguises. He's a great detective, martial artist, and he's an avid leader, and he has his conspiracy sides, but he is overall just such an interesting character I want to learn more about, and I did. And honestly, I think he needs more. I think he needs more and he deserves more as a character. I feel like could become someone in the DC universe that, could become a pillar of a lot of like information and, basically be like a street level person that, somehow gets involved with with some of the big games out there, right? He gets himself into some crazy ass situations just because he wants to confirm his questions, his conspiracies, and honestly, I fuck with it. I really do. However, like I said before, he has a conspiracy theory side, and a lot of the times these grow into obsessions, which cause him to go a bit crazy when he wants to learn the answers to the questions he's been asking and seeking, right? They do kind of mellow him out with some Zen philosophy crap, but for the most part, he is pretty much an interesting guy. He even dabbled in the occult, spirituality, and magic to help him on his quests, enhancing his body, his mind, and a bunch of stuff just to get closer to the truth and to help himself become more physically able to get to the truth, which is it's admirable, it's cool. The question reminds me of Rorschach from Watchmen. I love Watchmen. The movie is great. Everything else is great from the universe besides the one series that came out like a couple years ago. We don't talk about that. But for obvious reasons, the question is not as brutal as Rorschach or vengeance driven. I do enjoy these characters, especially since they're grounded. And in my opinion, they can offer up some amazing storytelling opportunities. Honestly, this is why it's easier to make stories about Batman instead of Superman, because Superman is such a godlike figure. The stories need to up their game with more powerful characters and so on. I'm not going to get into that, but I could if you guys want me to. It could be cool. It could be a nice video. I might think about it. Have I reminded you of the question? I know the video will probably jog your memory if you watch Justice League Unlimited and Batman the Brave and the Bold, but still, have I reminded you of the question? Have you always known about the question? How do you feel about him? What would you want to see more from this character? Specifically, what would you do to make his stories better? I want to know what your ideas are, your opinions on the character. And now, without further ado, my friends, let's get into my own ideas for the question and how they should approach the character and give him a better place in the world of DC. Right? Let's get into it. Right? Now, without further ado, personally, I've always been interested in the question through his outfit and gimmick, like I said before. Cool, blah blah blah. SinnerMan, what are you doing? Like you're saying the same shit all over again. Well, another grounded character always caught my eye because I liked his costume, I liked his name, I liked his gimmick, and it was Daredevil. So I'm sitting here looking at these two characters. I'm looking at the Daredevil live action series, and I'm sitting here like, we could really do something here. Street level heroes are great for live action shows, and I think for the question, it could really fit. He already has his own city he runs around in. Hub City, that's his city. He has a job as an investigative journalist that, he's famous for because a lot of his big stories focus on what he has been digging up as the question. Depending on how they want to spin it, they could have it to where he is right out of college and he is actively trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life. And, investigative journalism is a passion sparked by his national paranoia. but he would be conflicted with what he wants to do personally. I think the best way to have him follow this path of heroism is to fall down the rabbit hole that is finding a truth amid a myriad of corruption in Hub City. Maybe a benefactor that helps get him through school and have a better life is framed for something he genuinely didn't believe he did, and would lead him on a quest for the truth, slowly coming across the underworld of Hub City and having to fight his way through to the truth no matter what, slowly diving into his persona as the Question. That's it for the first idea. Let's get to the second one, right? Another idea I would have for the Question would be, to make him sort of like a connector in general to not every kind of hero, but like, to certain heroes that are, good, for, that will be interesting for the Question to, sort of interact with. The Question dabbles in damn near everything, so having him be an unlikely source of support and intel for characters would be interesting. Hell, the reason why Batman vouches for the Question so much is because the Question actually helped, root out some corruption in his own company that he didn't even know about. So, something like that would be pretty cool to see. The Question gets answers by any means, and connecting everything, even if it's confronting Superman about his own lies, has never once stopped him from seeking the truth. Even attempting to kill Luthor to make sure an evil future never happens is something interesting to see, since there is sense in what he is doing. I'm not saying a whole lot of sense, but it is a good bit of sense to see Luthor as a possible linchpin for a fucked up future. So hey, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, gotta do something else, man. Gotta do something else. But having the Question be that guy who is connected to a whole bunch of heroes in weird, funny story ways, it could be cool, especially with him being brought into worlds above his pay grade, similar to how Batman can really be put into situations where he can't really do shit besides, something niche that they have him do that only Batman can do, but something similar to that aspect, right? The Question can always give such an interesting twist to stories, especially with how vague and crazy he can be. So a position in DC in the DC universe to uncover new secrets and plots as he is casually investigating conspiracies and corruption in the world that may connect to other heroes can be really interesting. I would really love this for him, because just for the simple fact that the Question is somebody who will literally question anybody and everybody. It doesn't matter their status or anything. The man really just went up to Superman and said, hey bitch, I know your secret, I know what you're hiding, let's talk. And I'm just sitting here like, oh shit. As a kid when I was watching, I'm like, this man's talking shit to Superman. I like this guy, right? Now, for my last idea, it will mainly focus on the ambiguity of what line he is on. What line between hero and villain he is on. But to him, the only side he is on is the side of the truth. If that means he has to work with villains to get to the truth faster, then so be it. The Question isn't someone who isn't afraid to get his hands dirty, especially when it comes to getting the truth, right? Although he is a good aligned character, his obsession could bend this alignment, which could be interesting if done right. The world of heroes and villains isn't quite so black and white, and I think the Question can be the perfect gray between them, investigating corruption on both sides to make it would be incredibly cool, and it would be incredibly in his character to do, right? To investigate no matter how goody two shoes a hero or how bad a character is, he could always find something that could, sort of gray the lines a little bit between them and sort of, get them to do whatever he wants or, do what he needs to do. It could be as simple as finding out the truth and not doing anything about it because he's literally the Question. Maybe he just wants to know and that's it. And, it kind of just makes everyone look at him like, what the fuck? He's just so crazy. But that's just in his character. That's just in his character to be crazy. The Question being a character that sets things straight with everyone could be an angle that could push him to be something more than what he is now. Not only calling out corruption in the world of normal people, but in the world of heroes and villains as well. Having someone sort of be that person that speaks the truth, digs up the truth, no matter how much bullshit they go through, and will do what's necessary for the world, even if it damns themselves, is something that can make any universe, any world, a much more interesting place. Now, will DC get better with its stories and content? Will DC focus on more interesting heroes with more potential? Will the Question get more spotlight like he deserves? These are the questions that are the most important here. These questions are important because I want to go ahead and make sure characters like the Question have a better fit for a better story, especially in their own universe. They deserve better, in my opinion. But thank you all for watching. And honestly, if you're here, on a video focused on the Question, I definitely do think he needs more. He needs more stories. They need somebody to really get into it when it comes to him, right? I love the Question. He's cool as hell. He has so much potential. I will just stop now. Enjoy the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for supporting the channel. Stay healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. And see you guys next time. Peace.